Today on Age of the Show, we have Benji Travis, a YouTuber who's been making YouTube videos for a very long time now, more than a decade. And his videos have popped off. He made a lot of cooking videos, are some of my favorites. And he talked to us about how to make YouTube videos, how to vlog, and the YouTube secrets. He wrote this book called The YouTube Secrets. So check out that episode of Age of the Show.
Look at that.
Just like that, another day,
Episode
another episode.
299 of Age of the Show.
We're almost at
299 days.
Every single day. Here we are today. We're joined by our very own Saeed Jamal again. And we also have Benjamin. Benjamin, welcome to the show. Let the world know who you are and what you do.
Going on? Yeah, my name is Benji Travis. I've been a YouTuber for 14 years.
The legend.
And a lot of things that people know about me are on YouTube, but what they don't know about me is I've been supporting my wife behind the scenes as her business manager. So over the course of the last decade, I've been able to build a business and a brand for both of us. And now I teach people how to build their YouTube channels, their businesses, their brands on a channel called Video Influencers. My friend Sean Cano and I co-founded that, and we're the authors of YouTube Secrets, so go check that out.
Check it out.
Yeah. Wait, isn't that the book you always tell me about, Ellie?
Yes.
Isn't that the book you're always like, yeah, I read it on this book, that's why we got to do this? Okay, cool.
So we got to get going.
I mean, nice to finally meet you, right? Because I keep hearing about you all the time. So thank you for coming on the show.
Can we pause for a second? I just want to make sure. Benji, what did you have for breakfast? Wait, I just want to hear one.
Right back. Technical difficulties as usual. It's nothing new on the show, but hey, here we are. We're live in the flesh, right? Welcome, Benji. Right.
Well, thanks, Benji. I want to know, let's get right into the hard questions. What was the last thing you cooked?
Last thing I cooked was, let's see, I cooked yesterday and I made, man, why am I blanking on this? I made grilled cheese sandwiches for the kids.
You know what? Grilled cheese are always amazing, but here's what I want to know. How'd you make your normal grilled cheese into like an amazing grilled cheese? Like, what did you do?
Well, lots of butter, and you grill it on a cast iron pan until it's nice and golden brown.
Do you do both sides or do you do one side?
Oh, I definitely do both sides.
Perfect.
And I usually use 3 different kinds of cheeses.
Which are?
Gruyere,
a
mild cheddar, and a Parmesan.
Perfect. Best combination on the market, right? That's really cool. Right, so let's get into real questions now.
Yes.
Here's what I want to know. So what got you into, so I from what I've understood is you started as a cooking channel, right? You cook food and put it out.
I learned how to make cookies.
Right? What pushed you to, or what made you want to do this to begin with? What made you want to cook on YouTube?
Well, first off, I started on YouTube more behind the scenes, supporting my wife with her business. But the reason I wanted to start my cooking channel is because I always wanted to be on the Food Network, which is a show we have here in the United States. It's a cable channel.
We have it too.
They talk about food. They used to teach you how to cook. Now it's just a whole bunch of different challenges and games. But I always thought it'd be cool to get paid to cook food and eat. When I started my YouTube channel, I figured, hey, I don't need the Food Network. I don't need to wait for those producers to decide that I can have a show. And I just started uploading my recipes. And so the rest is history. I've been doing that for about 10 years. And that's really a side passion of mine. But I am very passionate about food and cooking. And I'm just grateful I can share my hobby and my skills with anybody that's learning how to cook for the first time or just want to know my recipes.
Interesting. Did you go to a culinary school or were you just skilled at birth like I am?
No, I just learned from doing it.
Perfect. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So since you're so passionate about food and cooking, why didn't you ever pursue that career?
Well, because I didn't want to get into that. People always say you should start a restaurant. But honestly, I'm doing the thing that I want to do, which is help other people build their YouTube channels, build their business, and become influencers. So for me, it's just a fun thing I can do on the side. Of course, I love cooking for the kids and my wife and myself, but I don't want to make it into a business. I have no desire to, just because, again, it's something I love doing as a hobby and a passion, and that's enough for me.
Yeah, amazing. So in terms of cooking, I want to ask, what's the hardest thing you've learned to do? Like the hardest skill you've learned to do in the kitchen while preparing a meal?
You know, the hardest thing I've had to learn how to do is it's called Onsen Tamago, which is
Japanese.
It's Japanese. It translates roughly to spa egg. And it's a technique of making an egg in a way that takes a lot of attention and precise timing. So when the egg comes out, it's like a heavenly, like perfectly cooked, soft white of the egg. And the yolk is slightly like stiffened, but it's not quite hard. So it's really unique. If you look it up in like on Google, it isn't very easy to do. So it's called Onsen Tamago. You put it on top of a beef bowl dish.
Amazing. That's pretty cool, right? So what do you enjoy doing more? This is what I'm like actually interested in knowing. So what do you enjoy doing more? Do you enjoy cooking and putting it on the internet, or do you enjoy supporting, or helping your wife do her online business? And so where do you lie in the whole two worlds?
I personally enjoy both equally. It's just how I go about doing it and how much time I spend. I'm a man of many different skills and passions and hobbies, so I like to have a balance. I can't see myself cooking all day, because I do love what I do on video influencers, helping other creators, other entrepreneurs. But at the same time, I don't want to do that all day too, because I need to eat. I want to cook for my family. So it kind of is a little bit of both. It's not one or the other. They're completely different parts of my life.
Interesting. Right.
That's amazing that you have many different passions and hobbies, and you pursue a bunch of things. I think it's interesting because we're always taught to pick one thing and specialize in it and try to do it as much as we can till we grow up. But what we find out with YouTube is that, you can have a YouTube channel where you do many different things.
Totally.
And for some reason, you can still do that and grow and not specialize. So how have you been adapting to like YouTube and making YouTube videos and growing? And was it hard for you because you had a niche when you first started out cooking? Was it hard for you to break from that?
It wasn't easy. So I started off supporting my wife, and she was in the beauty scene. So she was teaching makeup tips, how to do your hair, and I was just taking care of the behind the scenes business stuff. We started a vlog channel called It's Judy's Life, and that was in 2010. That was just supposed to be for fun. And so through that channel and our daily life, people got introduced to my passion for cooking and just my love for food. So that's when I started my food channel. But I really had a passion for the stuff I was doing behind the scenes. There was a lack of resources on YouTube. And so this is why my friend Sean Cannell and I decided to start Video Influencers. So that was kind of a shift, and it wasn't easy. But what I find is whatever it is that you love and you truly find joy in, that's what you're going to do long term, and that's what's going to be sustainable. So I think proof is in the pudding. I mean, Sean and I, between the two of us, we've interviewed over 250 people like you guys, right? You're going to hit about 300 here in a sec. You're going to have to change the logo on your shirts, by the way. I saw your merchandise.
Yes,
this is 250, so it's going to have to be
300.
299 to honor me.
Or 300.
Yeah!
Right? We'll do it. Special edition.
The point I'm trying to make is this. Because I love this so much and I was consistent, there's more content out there on this part of my skill set that ultimately what people know me for, I think ultimately it is because of the content. The amount of, I'd say, value I put out into the world. Don't get me wrong, my food channel is legit. I mean, you can learn how to cook these different recipes, but I'm uploading way more consistently on Video Influencers than I ever did on my food channel. So I'd say, like, this is the big question. How do you shift the niche? I don't think you have to think too much of it. If you start putting out this content and people deem it valuable and they're coming back to watch it consistently, that will become your brand. That's what people will know you for. And you might, alienate your old audience, but this is why you got to follow your passion. You can't be afraid to pursue something that you're really interested in, because it's the easiest way to burn out is to do something you're not feeling anymore, or not maybe
interested in.
Maybe not understanding that there's this part of you that's really like yelling for attention, And if you don't give it the attention, there's going to be a struggle there. And so I say, hey, just go along with it, ride that wave, and the rest is history.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
But see, here's what I want to talk about for a bit. I would say we're kind of struggling on YouTube, not Instagram, mainly YouTube, right? Because we don't really have a niche. We talk about everything we want to talk about, and it's kind of. So, what do you think about channels like us who are trying to make it out on YouTube and are just, they don't really have a niche?
Well, then you're going to rely on the personality. I follow a podcast show called Joe Rogan, and he is a well-known comedian.
I've heard of that.
MMA.
I think I know.
He's kind of all over the place. He loves to go hunt.
Yeah, only 5 million viewers.
Yeah. But why do people watch and listen to his podcast? It's because they're interested in his opinion. As a personality, he's very entertaining. So the guests he brings on, and ultimately it's the conversation that has the value. There is no niche. And me personally, I don't watch any of his mixed martial arts conversations. I'm not interested in that. And because he's got the volume of uploads, I mean, I think he's up to like almost 3,000 people he's interviewed. So he's built niches within his own audience. And that's just from pure volume. But my suggestion to you guys, and this is one thing that is interesting, that there's 3 of you here. So there's going to be different opinions. There might be even different passions or interests from any one of you individually. So it's really the conversation that would be the value. So the question is, how do you make that more informative, more entertaining? I love how you guys are so casual, just joking with me at the very beginning. Again, like you're just bringing a different dynamic and really nailing down on that and putting the focus there rather than trying to think of like, what's our niche? Now, don't get me wrong, I believe in niches. And I think that a show that is focused on a specific topic or industry or expertise will have an edge when it comes to getting known. But if you guys want to have this format, you guys just should be the most entertaining, awesome interviewers in the whole world, because obviously it's already been proven people can do that and they don't necessarily need a niche. At the very beginning, if nobody knows you though, a niche is going to help you break into somebody's attention. If you don't have a niche, it is an uphill battle, but it's a battle that can be won. It just takes a long time, a lot of consistency, and for you guys, just improving the conversation. I'm not saying your conversations aren't good. I'm just saying always striving to be better than your last one. And what you'll find after, I know you guys are about to hit 300, but when you hit that 1,000 mark, you're going to be so good at talking to people that you'll make your guests more comfortable. So maybe they're, a little bit more themselves. What questions to ask. You understand what your audience is really interested in hearing about. So again, it's all about growing and learning as you go. But, that would be my initial advice for you guys and the type of format that you do have.
Interesting. We really must work on our questions.
Thank you.
Something I actually wanted to mention about is like you were talking about the Food Network, how you wanted to be on the Food Network. And I wanted to relate it to, like, I feel like cable right now is, well, I'm pretty sure you guys would all agree, it's kind of a dying market.
It's not dead yet?
It's dying. I didn't say it's dead. It's
I thought it was
dead. It's almost there. So like, and you also have a YouTube channel. So wouldn't you prefer to be staying on YouTube? Like maybe it's more beneficial. Yeah, you can get more. There's more reach. You can. I mean, it's also more.
Totally.
You can easily become successful on YouTube nowadays. Not easily, sorry, but like, it's more profitable and more success comes from it.
Yeah, YouTube is the new TV. What's better about YouTube though is free. And who doesn't love free? But the quality of the content there, I mean, look at this. At least here in the United States, almost every channel, every show puts out their content for free onto YouTube. There is no paywall. You don't have to sign up for anything. I personally am subscribed to the premium version of YouTube, so I don't have to watch ads. But if you're willing to watch ads, you can watch all this stuff without any kind of need for a cable subscription. Now, of course, you need internet service. But if you've got a phone and you've got data on that device, you can watch anything. So to me, it's a new TV. It's on demand. You have the choice of skipping the commercials. So I'm 100% all YouTube. This is why we titled our book YouTube Secrets. Not like the secrets of getting famous. Like YouTube is everything, in my opinion. Whether you're trying to learn something, you're trying to get entertained, or even in this case, connecting with other people with similar interests. It's all there. It's this massive world where you can basically live in. The communities are just infinite on this platform. So I'm not thinking about going on TV. In fact, I'm honored when somebody wants to interview me. Like sometimes when we have our launches for our book or something else, we might go on to like a cable network show. But between you guys and me, I'm just trying to get more content for my YouTube channel, right? I try to take that content and put it on my YouTube channel.
Exactly.
And a lot of people like Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, it's interesting. He just released and launched, or he's going to launch his first NFTs, which are these digital pieces of art. And he went on a whole day of interviews on TV, and literally one after the other, after he was on those shows, he's putting those interviews onto his channel, onto his platforms. And so, I think that all roads lead back to this device. The fact that people are at home in the comfort of their couch, consuming videos whenever they want, wherever they're at.
Well, yeah, because we're addicted to it. Basically, it's a drug.
Totally.
It's a technological drug where people just like constantly need to watch things and just absorb information. Okay, sometimes it might be bad, sometimes it's good, but it is an addiction. And I don't really. I feel like maybe people should find a way to like use it a bit less.
Oof.
Well,
I think it's controversial. Yeah,
for sure.
I learned so much on YouTube. I've learned so much on YouTube, and my mind's broadened so much because of YouTube and all the people I've been able to see. But then also, yeah, it's true. I do sometimes spend hours and hours on that. Play next. So yeah, what's your take on that, Benji?
Well, honestly, I think that it's subjective to the person. What you say is too much might not be enough for somebody else. Depends on where they're at in their life. Say you just lost your job and you're not making any money and you need to completely start over and build this business, and you decide to do it on YouTube. Well, maybe you're gonna watch 10 hours of YouTube so that you can learn all the skills needed. So for me, frankly, I don't think there is any rules. I have no judgment on somebody else that's addicted, or maybe somebody using it a little bit more casually, and they're more moderate with the amount they consume. But the point of YouTube and why it's so powerful is the fact that people are paying attention to it. Like their face is right there. And this is why traditional media is scared in the boots, because literally they're losing so much of the bandwidth, so much of the viewership that they used to command. And for me, any business or any entrepreneur venture you're at, it's all about attention. Because if you want to sell your product or service, you have to get in front of people. And so for me, I just care about that. And right now, the king of the hill is YouTube. The only thing next to it are things like Google or Facebook, and I'm there too. But there's something about YouTube, the relationship you build with your audience, that is so powerful. And we've never had that ever in the history of mankind to the degree where I still live in the same community that I grew up at in the last 30 years. I didn't have to move, to like a major city. I didn't have to be in an area where there is a whole bunch of YouTubers. I could just do this from here, and just with an internet connection, a device. And now, YouTube Shorts just rolled out, so you can create short form content on your YouTube app. I mean, there's really no excuse. But what's I think more significant to me is that one device in your small town, because of the internet, can reach 1 billion plus people. That is pretty crazy. I focus on those kind of things more than I worry about how much I'm consuming, or, are people consuming it too much? Because think about the 90s, 80s, how much TV were people watching, right? And I would argue that TV was less valuable, less informative, and less targeted. So you're watching just whatever shows were put in front of you, whatever the schedule was letting you, make a choice on. Now you can literally have the choice, and now you're finding that people are creating subcultures and tribes of, like communities around specific topics. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And
it is, yeah.
And I think it's amazing that you can be anywhere around the world and you can make content that can reach anyone else around the world. And it does seem like one of the most like amazing things that came out of the internet, that we can do this anyway.
It is.
I want to know what your opinion is on. It sounds like really great and too great to be true. But then there are so many YouTubers that we all know that end up crashing after some time. Like some YouTubers who reach that point and they have the attention and they have an audience and they've had it for years, and then we all know people who've just dropped off the map and then you haven't heard from them since. As we're getting more attention, I'm wary of this and I don't want to fall into these traps. So, do you have any advice?
And what specifically you're asking, like what advice you have to create a sustainable YouTube channel and business?
Yes, I guess, right? Because that's why YouTubers, I guess, fall off, because they're not sustainable. Because the videos they make aren't sustainable.
Well, I think there's so many variables that affect if you fall off the map, right? It could be personal things. Maybe you had to make a change in your life. Maybe you had to shift your business model. Maybe you're not interested. Maybe you're burnt out because you hated what you're doing. Hence why I made the point of following your passion. Whatever brings you joy is what you should be focused on if you want to make it sustainable. My wife is a great example. She started in 2008 creating beauty videos. Now she doesn't make any of those types of videos. She's completely quit that channel. She still has that beauty genre channel. It's called It's Judy Time. Right now, all her focus is on what she does as a daily vlogger. We put out our vlogs every single day. And then also her mommy channel, which she doesn't even upload to that. She just does whatever it is she loves to do. And so she was never worried about what is trending, what are the challenges, what's going to get me even more views. Now, it is something that we understand is important because we want to make money. That viewership, that attention is really important, but we're not changing how we create content based off of that. We're asking ourselves, and it's not something we do actively, but we're very honest about what it is we're interested in. We're following our passion. So my wife has literally uploaded, I think, like 3,700 vlogs now, and she's edited almost all of those. I probably edited like 150 of them just to give her a break here and there, like when she had some issues going on and she had to like maybe go to a different country. But that sustainability comes from the fact that she is always doing what it is that she loves and not just playing to the needs of the algorithm or doing what she thinks the audience is demanding. She's always really honest about what it is she's interested in, and she creates based off of that. So I think that's one part of it. Secondly, I think like creating a business around it. And, I think this goes both with making enough money to make this sustainable. And secondly, don't spend too much money. One of the number one mistakes people make is they have a viral video, they make $100,000 or they become a millionaire and they go and buy the Lamborghini or the mansion. Good for them. But what's better than that is building a team, building a business, being able to do this for the next 10 years, maybe for the rest of your life. So I'm always about investing in systems and investing in resources that let me do this long term so I don't fall off, as you would say, or burn out. I just see so many people, and I can say this with confidence after doing this for 14 years, because some people in my space, they went out and bought the nice cars. They went out and moved into the mansion. And what have they done since? They've sold the cars. They've moved out of those houses. They go back to where they started. Square one, yep. Not realizing all that was very superficial. It's very surface level. And it does bring you joy. Don't get me wrong. I've like Corvette. That's my favorite car. I definitely wouldn't mind driving that to work every single day. But you know what? That's not what brought me joy. And that's not like why I started creating content. I think always like kind of humbling yourself and reminding yourself why you even started this in the first place, because it's easy to kind of fall into the limelight and kind of the pizzazz of that lifestyle. And I think that's just practical advice for a lot of people, especially young people who don't understand that because they haven't lived life, that those shiny things, those fancy buys, they might make you happy short term or even for a year, but like you said, what's going to make you happy for a decade? And those are the type of fundamental principles that I personally live by, so that we have actually sustained it for over 10 years, and I believe we'll still be doing this for the next 10.
I mean, I hope you still do, because that's some very good advice. But I think another main issue with the YouTubers nowadays is they get too famous too fast at such a young age, where they either fall into like something that's dangerous for their reputation and their, health, or they get into something that's not really them and they change, right? So how do you prevent that from happening to any of us? Like, for example, we're a bunch of 20-something-year-olds in the game. I bet you anything we won't know what to do if tomorrow we hit 10 million subscribers and get all this, money and fame, and we will just like not know what to do, right? So what's your advice on that?
Let me ask you this, Ali. How long have you guys had this show for?
Almost a year now. 300 days.
A year now.
Yeah.
Hey, respect. Almost 300 interviews in a year. That's some hustle. What I would say is, if you came into a certain level of success or fame or money, keep doing the same thing. The reason Joe Rogan is so powerful, it's funny, that's his name of his show, The Powerful Joe Rogan, is because he just kept doing the same thing over and over and over. I think he's in it like 10 years now. So my suggestion is, keep doing the same thing. Don't get all distracted. One of the things that a lot of famous people do, that are, like young and famous, or they're newly famous, especially like YouTubers, TikTokers, whatever, they start getting invited to all the parties. They get flown out to events. They're like these celebrities that are put up on a pedestal, and all that is nice. I've done some of those events and I've had a lot of fun on trips, but that's not what made me famous. What makes you valuable to your audience, you should just keep doing that. Now, if the fame and the money brings to you, joy to your day and lets you buy like a nicer ride or a nicer house, great. But don't take your eye off the ball. And for you guys, the ball is these interviews. So interview another 300 people, interview for another year. So you just keep doing that. And then the success you'll have long term will be way greater than like a viral video or some of these special moments where you kind of get lost, and you kind of like get distracted. And it's really simple to me. It's nothing mind-blowing. It's nothing complex. Ali, whatever you did to build this community that you've got, and as this community grows, keep doing the same thing. Your community is going to appreciate it so much. And in fact, they're going to love you even more, because what they're going to find is that fame did not change you, right? Fame exposes people. And so for my wife, we had no desire to live in this crazy home or move to Hollywood. And again, nothing wrong with that. But for us, that's not what it was about. And I do believe that our audience, our vlog followers, they appreciate that. That wasn't an active decision on our part. It just happened because that's who we are. And that'd be my advice for you, so that you don't get into debt, like buying a mansion or something like that.
Perfect.
Great advice. I'll take that advice.
Something I wanted to talk about, like you were mentioning about a lot of successful people talk about consistency, like being consistent basically creates success for you in your project or your company. Why, like psychologically, why is it such an important thing? Like, what kind of impact does it have on your viewers of being consistent with them, and like also being genuine instead of maybe being unpredictable?
Yeah, well, Saeed, I'm guessing that you've become pretty good friends with Ali and Ali, right?
Yeah.
I've known him from high school, pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
Now, I'm glad you brought up high school. How often did you see Ali while you're going to high school and even afterwards?
Every day.
Every single day.
Yeah, like we were in the same class. So over
time, did you get closer to him, or did you get like more of a stranger to him?
No, yeah, I got closer.
It's the same way on YouTube. You know, YouTube isn't some foreign place or some world that's unknown. Like, it's just us. There's just us humans, you know. And the algorithm that people talk about, the algorithm is based off of human behavior. So if you treat that platform in your videos and it as an extension of yourself, then of course, like if you want to have like amazing fans and loyal viewers, you do what you do if you were trying to like be closer to your friend. And so what's interesting about high school, we're kind of forced to see these people, right? We like have to go to class. But what happens when you sit next to this kid day after day, quarter after quarter, year after year, you just become good friends with them, especially if you have similar interests. And that's what happens on YouTube, but at a higher level, because the choice is the viewers. So in terms of the consistency and the importance, it's crazy important. My wife and I, we upload our vlogs religiously 5 days a week. So we're basically showing up just like we would show up in class. And it just builds a relationship where when our viewers or fans come up to us, I mean, the testimonies are very impactful. We've had people tell us that during the hardest time of their lives, like our vlogs was a bright part of their day. We've had people who were considering taking their lives that said our daily show saved them. And I have to give 100% credit to my wife because she's she's a star of the show. But I think there is a aspect of like, we're there every single day. They can count on us. I don't want to make a promise we'll be doing this for the rest of our life, but for the last 10 years, just showing up daily, it's what's created the relationship, which has created trust. And that's what leads to opportunities, whatever that is for you. And so consistency is huge. Now, on more practical content creator side, though, that consistency helps you to improve. So we were talking about, like, how do you improve this YouTube channel, this show? Well, you got to do it a lot. So every time you go from one video to the next, you look at your results and you can adjust. If you do that 10 times, it's pretty good. If you do it 100 times, that's way better. You do it 1,000, it's like, damn, you're going to get really good at it. Have you ever heard the term 10,000 hours? It takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. Yeah. Same thing with YouTube. And so consistency lets you do it in a very realistic way, because it's going to be hard for you to upload 10,000 interviews this year, but you guys did 300 in the last year, right? So think about it. You keep doing that year after year, you're going to get pretty badass and good at this. I bet you this, Saeed, if you guys kept doing this show for the next 3 years and you kept up this pace, you guys are going to be 1,000,000 times better than you are at this moment, because all this experience just keeps stacking and stacking. I love how when I came on here, Ollie's like, hey, hold up. I know exactly how to fix it. Okay. You go to the little mute button, bottom left, hit there. No one's ever done that with me. Okay. And that just comes from experience. So it's the same thing with YouTube, and that consistency lets you create that experience over time, while at the same time creating a connection that becomes a relationship, which becomes a trust, which builds fans. And honestly, like in our case, people that are friends. It's like we're their family. They probably see us in our life more than they just see regular people. I know I can say the same thing about people I watch on YouTube as well. Some people with YouTube channels, I see them, I listen to them more than I talk to my own friends, just because this is literally 2 feet away from me. My friends are maybe like a couple phone calls and a scheduling away, And so YouTube's powerful, and social media honestly is the same way as well. So consistency is everything.
Interesting.
Amazing. Wow, that's truly.
Yeah, that opened my eyes to a lot of stuff.
I want to ask you something, since we're all high school friends pretty much, and we've known each other for a while. And sometimes working with high school friends, it's hard because it blurs the lines. Like, should we playing Call of Duty, or should we be talking about work? I want to ask you, because you work with your wife out of all people, right? And you've helped her, and I imagine she's helped you a lot also. So how do you even work with someone you see that much and have that boundaries?
Well, I think it's different for different people. You know, my wife and I were really fortunate that we both are 100% into this. You know, if I was somebody that was totally against this, that'd be really difficult. And in fact, that might create tension. So we got lucky. But again, the rules are different for different people. I think that's just being honest with yourself and whoever it is that you're working with. You know, Sean Cannell and I, we started Video Influencers, and in the very beginning, we're super excited. We had this vision. We want to write this book. We thought it was going to take 6 months. It took 4 years. And so there was definitely some struggles. But the thing that's always served us the best is being honest with each other, especially when we have an issue or maybe like we disagree on something. And sometimes when you're honest and transparent early, it helps you avoid the fights or arguments later. And naturally, and this is why I think it's incredible that three of you, and I don't know if Alian Lee started initially together, but the fact that you guys have been able to do this 300 times is pretty awesome. It's very unique. It's very difficult. So my advice to you, coming from both me working with one of my best friends, as well as working with my wife, is just being honest with yourself, which is actually good advice for anybody for anything, but especially when you have a partnership. And then always kind of like speak your mind in a respectful way, of course, right? Yep. You want to be considerate of what they want, but if you have an aligned interest or you're focused in your endeavor and you've all got a goal that you guys can be unified on, I mean, it's awesome. But where I find problems is when you're not honest with yourself and you're hiding something from the people you're working with.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
By the way, do you guys edit this afterwards or just a straight shot?
Yeah, it's a straight shot, but you can go ahead and drink that. Yeah, you're fine. No, don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. So
we'll keep this part as well.
Yeah, it's so here's what I want to know, right? So you've been doing it for 15 years, or you said 14? I'm not sure.
14,
Since 2008, right? And to this day, you've seen how YouTube has changed a lot since 2008 till 2021, right? People that have been on this platform for a long time are now selling out arenas, doing concerts, or fighting each other in a ring, right? And it's pretty crazy. Like the change is like all over the place. Like, yeah, it really is. Like this one kid who would just play FIFA all day is now selling out, Drake level concerts and shit like that. So I think that kind of makes it hard for newcomers who are, trying to get into this YouTube scene. A little too late, I'd say, but never late, or what was it? Better late than never, right? So what do you think about the whole new people trying to get into YouTube? Like, what is it that they have to do to reach that success? Do they have to wait out the whole 10 years as well, or is there a shortcut to reach that part?
Well, I've never thought it was too late. In fact, with every passing year, the opportunity is better and better, because realize, there might be more competition than when my wife first started, but there's also a lot more people that, one, watch YouTube, and two, take it very seriously. So people spending money, people subscribing, people just understanding that this can be a legit business. When Sean and I first started in 2015, there was a few experts, but now there's way more experts when it comes to YouTube and just social media in general. And they're growing way faster than me and Sean did. And arguably some of their content would be way better than us, but it's also because there's more people that understand you can get this information on YouTube. So I actually disagree with the idea that it's too late. I believe now you might, maybe in certain genres like gaming, for example, it might be harder to grow like a massive audience like it was maybe in 2016 or 15. But the difference is now you can grow an audience around a very specific game. Okay. So say like
Ninja.
Whatever. Yeah. Ninja or Minecraft. There's people that specialize in specific games.
Right.
And that wasn't necessarily the case back in the day. There might have just been a few games that really made you massive. Now you can pick a game. And I think that the strategy is just different. The one thing I would say, though, that is definitely a consideration, content quality really does matter. I think personality, I think entertainment value, I like the information you're sharing, the connection you're building will always be the king when it comes to your content. But the quality, I think that it is something you'll have to consider and trying to improve where you can be. And by the way, it's not just with your camera, it's not just with lights or audio, it's with the format, it's with your editing. And so I think that's the difference, because now more people have access to these tools. Now, I will say at the same time, you don't have to buy a laptop. I just talked about YouTube Shorts. You can create a YouTube short from your phone, from the app. And if you got like an iPhone 12, you're getting HD content. But no longer is there the days where you can just have like not really consider it, or have like dark lighting and it's hard to see the person. It is, I think, important because people generally like looking at things that aren't hard to figure out. And like you said, audio, right? Like we made sure my audio, hopefully it's clear.
It's so clear. Yes.
We made sure it was good before the actual broadcast. So, this is the thing. If I'm looking up a tutorial and how to grow a certain plant in my garden, and I go to a video that I can't see very well and I can't hear the person, one, I don't think that video will ever get suggested to me, but if it did, I would go to the next best video. So quality and access to resources is way different than 2008, but I believe people not only can grow with these smaller communities, people are growing faster. Remember these people getting boxing, like offers to fight these celebrities. They started off on Vine. Right? They started off on Vine.
6 seconds.
Yeah. So let's just say, I don't know what year that was when Vine was around.
2016.
Maybe okay, let's just say 2015, 2016. So 6 years later, they're literally they're the biggest celebrities right now in the boxing world. If they started in 2008, 2014, that opportunity would not be there yet. Do you see what I'm saying? They actually grew even bigger. So now I feel people are going to grow faster and even bigger than them. They're going to be the old fogies, right? Like real quick. And there's going to be another young person that does it even better. I'm always paying attention to new platforms like TikTok. I personally don't use TikTok or upload to it, but I'm paying attention to it and the creators on there. New tools like YouTube Shorts, because the younger generation that is just doing things differently, they're defining what the next 10 years are going to be like. So I think that's really important to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. And they're growing way faster. The growth of TikTokers in 2020 is unlike anything else. And regardless of the value of that viewer, that follower is different than like a YouTube subscriber. Those numbers are massive. I'm seeing people get billions of views in a matter of like 6 to 12 months. It took my wife and I 10 years to get 1 billion views on YouTube. There's these kids doing that in 6 months, and I'm paying attention to that. And so when I interview those kind of people on my show, video influencers, I don't think, damn, it's getting harder. I'm thinking like, what are they doing? I need to do too.
Right.
6 seconds, literally 6 seconds.
So you're speaking about platforms and how they're like people have to pay attention to how they're growing and like, because basically they're opportunities they're a gateway to success. Well, what made you like back in 2008? What made you attracted to YouTube and say like, this is my opportunity, this is my gateway to do something and probably be successful in it?
Well, there's a couple things here. Number one, when my wife first started, I used to laugh at her. I was like her first official hater. And I said she was wasting her time. And then when she started getting a lot more views and subscribers, as well as like getting free products and getting paid, I was like, okay, this is something. But the true story of why I understood the significance of YouTube as I was being proved wrong by my wife was I started using I was uploading to YouTube in 2006 in the early days. And I used to work at a YMCA, which is like, there was like a center for teenagers, right? For kids. I used to go to this center and we used to play pool and they had foosball and ping pong and we free food there. And we had a computer lab. And so this is a place where kids from the neighborhood could use computers. And the kids, they were really into breakdancing. And I used to break dance when I was a kid. I loved dancing, but we had to learn off a VHS tape that we all shared, right? And we put into VCRs. These kids in 2006 are watching these celebrity break dancers all across the country and all over the world. I'm like, what are you guys doing? We're just watching these breakdancers on YouTube. I was like, oh, dang. So you're learning how to breakdance from this YouTube video. And so at that moment, I realized this is connecting people in a way that we could have only dreamed of when I was a kid. And I understood very early on. So because of it, we had a breakdancing battle that I used to plan out back in the day. And we went from being like a local little, 100-person event to over 1,000. We were one of the biggest breakdancing battles in the Pacific Northwest. And a lot of it had to do with YouTube. So I understood like how YouTube was changing the game, even at a local level for a physical event, and putting together what my wife was doing, and just the utility of YouTube was kind of the initial spark, and the rest is history. I was just like all in.
Wow.
We've built influence on Instagram, Facebook, on Twitter. I was on Snapchat for a while. I was like getting pretty good views there, but I've always come back to home base, and hence why we named this book YouTube Secrets, and not video influencers, because it's very clear to me that YouTube is the new TV. It's the place where people are literally living. And to be frank, most content creators on other platforms, they aspire to be YouTubers because there's something they know is different about that label and that title than any other title. And ask any kid that wants, ask them what they want to do when they grow up, they're going to all say YouTuber. That's crazy to me.
YouTuber.
Yeah, it's a strong brand.
Yeah,
that's what.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Strong brand.
Like,
Very prestigious,
like
I think.
Sports stars or something. Yeah,
it
is amazing. The thing I think that about YouTube that for me, I think is the reason why it's the best is that you can leave your legacy on YouTube, and then you can watch videos that are 10 years old and they pop up in your recommendation, and you can live on forever. YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and all these, they don't have that yet.
No.
But YouTube has that, and it's actually beautiful. What do you think your legacy is? So you've been working 10 years working on videos. What do you see yourself working on in the future?
Well, obviously the legacy right now is what my wife and I are doing around our family, around what we do with food. But the legacy that I've been building, and I hope is what I can gift to the world, is helping influencers, helping creators, YouTube channels like you guys, people that have an influence, and building a business and brand. That is what I want to do. And so literally every single day, I try to help somebody build their business, make more money, be more successful. And I think one of the key words that you mentioned earlier is make it sustainable. So this isn't just something that happens for the next 12 months, but it's happening for the next 12 years. That's what I'm concerned with. And, so I just started a new podcast myself. This is why I'm trying to be on everyone's podcast. It's called The Influencer Green Room. So I'm doing what I've been doing on YouTube. I'm now on a podcast with my friend Lee Ronsegev. And so I, similarly to you guys, I like to interview experts, and that's what I want to do. I'm curious how other people succeed, so I can share that knowledge with other people. And then of course I want to apply it myself. So selfishly, I learn just like you guys. I know you guys have a pretty broad range, like from belly dancers to karate, to of course like someone like me who's like YouTube geek.
Yeah, that's great. I think we're out of time. Are we?
Running out of time here.
We are. So here's the last question we usually ask all our guests, right?
This is
one last question.
Legendary.
One last question before he goes.
You can. All right.
What is the future looking like for Benjamin?
Future, lots of kids. I've got 4 beautiful girls, beautiful marriage, my wife Judy. That definitely is my future without a doubt. And then the rest of it has to do with YouTubers, social media influencers, and helping them grow their business and make it sustainable. So that'd be the best and most simple way to put it.
Well, it's amazing to hear. We hope for viewers success all the time.
That's awesome.
Thank you for watching another episode of A2 The Show. If you guys enjoyed this episode half as much as
before we wrap up,
what's going on?
I do want to, Ali, pause. Emergency question popped in my head.
Right, go.
Before we go, because you have kids, I want to know what your thoughts about YouTube and how kids are consuming it. Do you let your kids just watch YouTube videos? Do they watch your YouTube videos? Do they what access they have, and what kind of control you have.
My kids, my oldest is 8 years old, and we let them watch YouTube on YouTube Kids app. So that's a specific app for younger viewers. And for me, we definitely control it. So it's minimal amount of time every single day. Don't get me wrong. If I let them, they would watch it for 8, 10, 12 hours a day because they do love it. But they're now getting into games. So it's kind of a balance there. But for me personally, as a parent and what I want for them, I want them to experience different things. But I totally think it's good for them to consume YouTube and videos on there because it's the future. And I want them to be prepared for not only what we're experiencing right now as adults, but what I believe will be the future of everything. So I personally have a strategy of I let them play these games and go onto YouTube so they can understand what the new way of communication is. Now, don't get me wrong, they watch TV and watch movies, but everything that's happening on these devices it is literally going to determine how they live their life, how they make money, and how they build their life, generally speaking. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Well, that's great. Well, I'll say it again. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching another episode of A to the Show. If you guys enjoyed this episode half as much as we enjoyed filming it, please do like, subscribe, and share. Special thanks to Said for coming and helping us out in today's episode, as well as Ben. Thank you for coming on. Right. So is there anything you'd like to shout out or let the world know?
YouTube legend.
No. I mean, if you guys are interested in building your own influence and learning from other people who are influencers, just listen to my new show called The Influencer Green Room. And you can find all my episodes there, or on YouTube, it's Video Influencers.
We'll put a link to all of his social medias in the description below. Go check him out. Right. Peace.
Check out his new book, YouTube Secrets.
YouTube Secrets. Definitely go get that. Peace, love, happiness, and we'll see you all.